Girivardhari Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jamuna Ravana Chari Jamuna Ravana Chari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana Jamuna Ravana Chari Jamuna Ravana Chari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvrajagacharya Stotara Sata. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Brahm Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gauda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Govinda Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrndavana Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaura Nitai Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Budale Shivani Swami. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I'm sure there are many things that you can be doing on a Saturday morning other than being here at the temple, but I would like to express my deep gratitude and appreciation to all of you for taking your valuable time to be here instead of wherever else it is that you could be. Hare Krishna. So this morning we'll be reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I am trying to get the, there we go. Interesting. Okay. I'm trying, but for some reason it's not letting me do that. Just here. Hare Krishna. All right, what we'll do is I'll just read the verses and then we'll recite the verse that we have today, which is 281. We'll be reading from 265 to 266. And just give me a moment. So this should appear on the screen now. Perfect. Okay. If I do that. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 16, and we're starting with verses 265 and going to 281, which we will repeat together. I'm just going to read the English for all of these verses up until 281. So this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or we'll hear mostly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself speaking. After speaking to them in this way, I bade them farewell. As I was leaving, Sanatan told me, "It is not appropriate for one to be followed by a crowd of thousands when going to Vrndavana. Although I heard this, I did not pay it any attention. And in the morning, I went to the place named Kinaya Natsala. At night, however, I considered what Sanatan had told me. I decided that Sanatan had spoken very well. I was certainly being followed by a large crowd, and when people would see so many men, they would surely rebuke me, saying, "Here is another impostor." I then began to consider that Vrindavan is a very solitary place. It is invincible and very difficult to attain. I therefore decided to go there alone, or at the utmost with only one person. Madhavendra Puri went to Vrindavan alone, and Krishna, on the pretext of giving him milk, granted him an audience. I then understood that I was going to Vrindavan like a magician with his show. And this is certainly not good. No one should go to Vrindavan with so many men. I have therefore resolved to go alone, or at the utmost with one servant. In this way, my journey to Vrindavan will be beautiful. I thought, instead of going to Vrindavan alone, I am going with soldiers and the beating of drums. I therefore said, "Fie upon me!" And being very much agitated, I returned to the bank of the Ganges. I then left all the devotees there and brought only 5 or 6 persons with me. Now, I wish that you all will be pleased with me and give me good consultation. Tell me how I shall be able to go to Vrindavan without impediments. I left Gadadhar Pandit here, and he became very unhappy. For this reason, I could not go to Vrindavan. Being encouraged by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's words, Gadadhar Pandit became absorbed in ecstatic love. Immediately clasping the lotus feet of the Lord, he began to speak with great humility. Gadadhar Pandit said, "Wherever you stay is Vrindavan, as well as the river Jamuna, the river Ganges, and all other places of pilgrimage." And then we have today's verse. Please repeat. Tabu Vrindavan yaha loka sikhaite. Tabu Vrindavana yaha loka shikhate. Seta karibe tomara ye laya chite. Seta karibe tomara ye laya chite. Tabu Vrindavana yaha loka shikaite. Seta karibe tomara ye laya chite. Someone else, please.
Tabu Vrindavan yaha loka shikaite. Seta karibe tomara ye laya chite.
Ladies.
shikaite. Sita karibe tamara ye ilaya chite. Abo Vrndavana yaka loka shikaite.
Word for word, please repeat. Tabu, still. Vrindavan yaha. You go to Vrindavan. Loka shikaite. To teach the people in general. Seta, that. Karibe, you will do. Tomara, of you. Yea, what? Laya, takes. Chite, in the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although wherever you stay is Vrindavan, you will go to Vrindavan just to instruct people. Otherwise, you will do whatever you think best. Okay, now it's a very long purport, and I prefer to have it on the board, but I can't show that part of my screen for some reason. So I'm going to read it. My request is everyone please be very attentive. And I know what it's like when someone just starts reading a long purport. It's like when you were a little child and your grandmother used to read bedtime stories to you. And you start thinking, oh, nap time. Okay. But you will be tested at the end of this purport, I assure you. And no one gets any breakfast prasad unless you pass the test. Yeah? Immediately, backs went up like this. People were like, oh, okay. So I'll try to keep it as exciting as possible. It was not essential for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan, for wherever he stayed was immediately converted to Vrindavan. Indeed, at that place were also the river Ganges, the river Jamuna, and all other places of pilgrimage. This was also expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he danced in the Ratha Yatra. At that time he said his very mind was Vrindavan, modo mana Vrndavana. Because his mind was Vrindavan, all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna were taking place within himself. Nonetheless, just to teach people, he visited Boma Vrindavan, Vrindavan Dham in this material world. In this way, the Lord instructed everyone to visit Vrindavan Dham, which is a very holy place. Materialists consider Vrindavan Dham is unclean city because there are many monkeys and dogs there. And along the bank of the Jamuna there is refuse. Some time ago, a materialistic man asked me, "Why are you living in Vrindavan? Why have you selected such a dirty place to live after retiring?" Such a person cannot understand that the earthly Vrindavan Dham is always a representation of the original Vrindavan Dham. Consequently, Vrindavan Dham is as worshipable as Lord Krishna himself. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadam Vrindavan. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, Lord Sri Krishna and his abode, Vrindavan, are equally worshipable. Sometimes materialistic people who have no spiritual understanding go to Vrindavan as tourists. One who goes to Vrindavan with such materialistic vision cannot derive any spiritual benefit. Such a person is not convinced that Krishna and Vrindavan are identical. Since they are identical, Vrindavan is as worshipable as Lord Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's vision, Moda Mana Vrndavana, is different from the vision of an ordinary materialistic person. At the Rath Yatra festival, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, absorbed in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, dragged Lord Krishna back to Vrndavana Dham. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke of this in the verses beginning Ahushchate from the Madhya Leela 13.136. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.84.13, it is stated, Yasyatma buddhi kunape trida tuke, swadihi kala tradi shubhoma ijedihi, yat tirta buddhi shalile na karhichij, janeshwa bigyeshu saeva gokaraha. A human being who identifies the body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, and who considers the land of birth as worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an ass or a cow. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally renovated Vrndavana Dham and advised his chief disciples Rupa and Sanatan to develop it and open it up to attract the spiritual vision of the general populace. At present, there are about 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. Definitely more than that now. And still, our society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is constructing a huge, magnificent temple for the worship of Lord Krishna and Balaram. Krishna Balaram ki. Along with Radha Krishna, Radha Shyam Sundar ki. And Guru Gauranga, Shishi Gauranitai ki. Since there is no prominent Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, we are attempting to construct one so that people will be attracted to Krishna Balaram or Nitai Gaurachandra. Bhajendra Nandana Ye Shachi Sutta Hoile Se. Narottam Das Thakur says that Balaram and the son of Maharaj Nanda have advented themselves as Shishi Gauranitai. To propagate this fundamental principle, we are establishing a Krishna Balaram temple to broadcast to the world that the worship of Gauranitai is the same as the worship of Krishna and Balaram. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although it is very difficult to enter into the Radha Krishna pastimes, most of the devotees of Vrindavan are attracted to the Radha Krishna Leela. However, since Nitai Gaurachandra are direct incarnations of Balaram and Krishna, we can be directly in touch with Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Those who are highly elevated in Krishna consciousness can enter into the pastimes of Radha Krishna through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Confirmed. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combination of Radha and Krishna. Sometimes materialists, forgetting the pastimes of Radha Krishna and Krishna Balaram, go to Vrindavan, accept the land's spiritual facilities, and engage in material activity. This is against the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Prakrita Sahajiyas proclaim themselves as Brajbasis or Dambasis, but they are mainly engaged in sense gratification. Thus, they become more and more implicated in the materialistic way of life. Those who are pure devotees in Krishna consciousness condemn their activities. The eternal Brajbasis, like Swarup Damodar, did not even come to Vrindavan Dham. Shri Pundarik Vijayanidhi, Shri Haridas Thakur, Shri Vas Pandit, Shivananda Sain, Shri Ramananda Roy, Shri Sikhi Mahiti, and Shri Madhavi Devi, and Shri Gadadhar Pandit Goswami never visited Vrindavan Dham. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur points out that we have no authorized document stating that these exalted personalities ever visited Vrindavan. Nonetheless, we find many non-devotees, Mayavadi sannyasis, Prakriti Sahajiyas, fruitive workers, mental speculators, and many others with material motives going to Vrindavan to live. Many of these people go there to solve their economic problems by becoming beggars. Although anyone living in Vrindavan somehow or other is benefited, the real Vrindavan is appreciated only by a pure devotee. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Premanjana Charita Bhaktivelochanena. Confirmed. When one has purified eyes, he can see that Sri Vrindavan and the original Goloka Vrindavan planet in the spiritual sky are identical. He can see that they are identical. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Sri Bhagavan Das Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanumanji Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki. And later, Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur of Calcutta. Guess there must be another Bhaktivedanta Thakur, right? Always engaged in Nam Bhajan, and certainly did not live anywhere but Vrindavan. Presently, the members of the Hare Krishna movement throughout the world live in materially opulent cities such as London, yes, New York, Los Angeles, Paris, Moscow, Zurich, and even Stockholm. Anyone here from Stockholm? Okay, any Stockholm bussies in the house? However, we are satisfied with following in the footsteps of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur and other acharyas, because we live in the temples of Radha Krishna and continuously hold Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of Hare Krishna. We consequently live in Vrindavan and nowhere else. We are also following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by attempting to construct a temple in Vrindavan for our disciples throughout the world to visit. Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada's amazing purports Ki Jai. Om Agana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Brishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Anyone remember anything from the purport? Beautiful, exactly. It's all about Vrindavan, yes, which is why I've entitled this talk, Vrndavana. So we're going to cover three main points, and the first one is the humility of Lord Chaitanya. Where is Vrindavan? And Srila Prabhupada, the ambassador of Vrndavana. So first, just to discuss the humility of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the verses leading up to the 281 and also including the verse today exhibit the immense humility. Trinadapi sunichena torapi sahishuna amanina manidena kirtanaya sadahari. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains like this. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that we should wear this verse around our neck on a string, a thread of the holy name. Always remembering this. So this humility, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows how we can accept feedback. Anyone here likes to get feedback? We don't like it when the mic feeds back, and we don't like it when other people feed back either, usually, right? It's like, yesterday I was somewhere and they said, do you have any feedback? And I gave them feedback and they thought I was just going to say, everything was wonderful, but I didn't. So sometimes people don't really like feedback. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was happy to accept feedback. And then he was also able to make adjustments according to popular perception. According to popular perception, he completely, even though he's completely transcendental, but once he got the advice of, was it Sanatana Goswami, then he made a change. He adjusted. And he thought, yes, people will view this in a certain way. So first, he said, I was going to Vrindavan like a magician with a show. Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's the supreme mystic because Krishna is Yogeshwar. But he's not really like a magician, but he's considering, okay, this is the way that I will be perceived. People will think I'm coming here as another, what did he say? Imposter. Just another imposter doing some magic. You know, watch, I can create some ashes, I can pull something from somewhere and do some feats of mystic power and people will be impressed. So he's thinking, people will think like this. So he's considering like this what's been said to him. And instead of going to Vrindavan alone, I am going with soldiers and the beating of drums. Again, looking at the external perspective, how people might be viewing what's going on. Sometimes we do this, we try to, when we go on Harinam, it's more like a rugby scrum coming down the street, you know, it's like a bulldozer or a snowplow. It's like, whereas if you see Indrajimna Maharaj's Harinams, they're just so beautiful and eloquent. Everyone's in two rows. Ladies are in the front with fans, looking very beautiful, dancing. The men, there's a kirtan party. So there's a way that we can display things and be conscientious, but not everyone agrees with that. No problem. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, "Fie." I wonder if he really said "fie." Fie upon me. Where's that? That's like is that like a Scottish word? British? Anyway, fie. Fie upon me, being very much agitated, I returned to the bank of the Ganges. So again, he's taking this on and really thinking and considering it. And when he considers it, he becomes agitated that he was even thinking of going to Vrindavan with so many thousands of men. He said, now I wish that all will be pleased with me and give me good consultation. Tell me how I shall be able to go to Vrindavan without impediments. This verse really reminded me of Lord Ram when Vibhishan comes. And he's taking counsel from all of his different monkey warriors and different personalities there, hearing from each of them before he makes a decision. So like this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also exhibiting such humility. And then he says, I know the reason why I haven't been allowed into Vrindavan, because I offended Gadadhar Pandit. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feeling that because he told Gadadhar Pandit that he can't come, then he thought that's why I'm also not being allowed into Vrindavan Dham. So all of these are really powerful introspections for us to understand, because the Chaitanya Charitamrita is very much teaching us, as Lord Chaitanya's mission, how to be devotees. And so this is the consciousness of the devotee. And then being encouraged by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's words, Gadadhar Pandit became absorbed in ecstatic love. Immediately clasping the lotus feet of the Lord, he began to speak with great humility. And we'll find that if we generate humility, then it becomes contagious. Often there are disagreements. Two people have opposing arguments or opinions. I'm sure none of you have ever had this experience where you have a differing opinion from someone else, and it seems like this kind of fight. But if one person decides, Vanchakalpa Triyubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo, one person gets on the floor, then the other person has two choices. He can either get on the floor too, or he can kick you in the head. And of course, if he kicks you in the head, then everyone will see, okay, who's got the problem. But usually the other person also decides to offer obeisances, offer pranams, so like this. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he said twice, I'm only going to take one person. And then in the end, he's decided to take how many? 5 or 6. So the Supreme Lord can do whatever he wants, like that. And we see that Srila Prabhupada also had this same mood. He would ask his disciples, what do you think? Do you think this is a good idea? Like I often remember how he approached Mukunda and he said, this Shama Sundar has said he wants to go to London to meet the Beatles. What do you think of this idea? And because Mukunda said, I think it's quite possible. He knows so many people, it's a good idea. So then Prabhupada said, okay, like that. But Prabhupada would often ask his disciples, and sometimes he would ask them and they would say, but Prabhupada, I don't know anything. And he said, you are chanting 16 rounds, you are following the 4 regulative principles. Krishna can also speak through you. So what do you think? So like that, Srila Prabhupada also in that deep mood of humility. So, from this purport, my goodness, where is Vrindavan? Where is Vrindavan? So, I detected 6 places where we can find Vrindavan. How many did you get? 2? Okay. Beautiful. I like that answer. I think if you had said 1, that would have been a correct answer also. But 2 is also fine. So, first, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, it was not essential, Prabhupada says, it was not essential for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan, for wherever he stayed was immediately converted to Vrindavan. Indeed, at that place were also the river Ganges and the river Jamuna, and all other places of pilgrimage. So where is Vrindavan? Well, Vrindavan is wherever the pure devotee resides is Vrindavan. This is the holy place. Because they carry the personality of Godhead within their heart, and they turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhuta. So, Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani. So like this. So, the first place, where is Vrindavan, is wherever the holy person is, that is Vrindavan. So devotees would describe like that when they would be with Srila Prabhupada, right? Whenever, of course, we know the stories. Whenever Prabhupada was coming, he says there would always be the smell of fresh paint. So the devotees would always be fixing the place up, cleaning everything up, painting everything, making it beautiful. But as soon as you're in the association of Prabhupada, you would just feel like you're in Vrindavan. So wherever the holy person is, that is also Vrindavan. And very much related to this, Prabhupada continues in the purport, this was also expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. When he danced in the Ratha Yatra, at that time he said that his very mind was Vrindavan. Moda, Mana Vrndavana. Because his mind was Vrindavan, all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna were taking place within himself. So this is the second place where Vrindavan is, which is that Vrindavan is in the heart, or our consciousness. So Vrindavan is not just a physical place, it's a person, and it's also, it can be in our own mind and heart, which we'll discuss a little bit more later. You don't have to be in the physical Vrindavan. Prabhupada said you can't just buy a ticket to Vrindavan. Even if you go to Vrindavan, as he was describing in the purports, and I remember the first time that I went to Vrindavan, unfortunately, very embarrassing, but I was also thinking very much like this. I was like, what is this place? This is definitely not the Vrindavan I read about in Krishna book. Waterfalls, I see some pretty funky sewage right there on the side of it. Some pigs wallowing in it, and people, begging, and so many dogs, scruffy-looking dogs fighting, monkeys stealing your glasses and chewing them up, demanding, used to be bananas, now they demand 2 or 3 of those tutti frutti drinks or whatever. They become more intelligent over time. And I was thinking, what is this place? This is definitely not Vrindavan. And then we went out into the, where was it we actually went to? What is the name of the place where the pearl pastime was? Valharya Kund? I think it's Valharya Kund. Near Radhakund, we went out and we were sitting in this field and the kirtan started, and all of a sudden it was just like the veil lifted. And there was these cow herd men walking and cows walking, the breeze blowing, the smell of jasmine was in the air, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is Vrindavan. And then the senior devotees describe how the chanting of the holy name really is what opens the Dham. But we have to have Premanjana, Charita, Bhakti Vilochana, we have to have the eyes to see Vrindavan, so we have to have the heart or consciousness. Also, in the purport, another Vrindavan that was mentioned was how Lord Chaitanya was at the Rath Yatra festival, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was absorbed in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, and he dragged Lord Krishna back to Vrindavan Dham. So I know Rath Yatra is happening, I think, early this year, so at Rath Yatra is also Vrindavan. And in the Rath Yatra festival in Puri, they're pulling literally Lord Krishna from Dwarka back to Vrindavan. So Vrindavan Dham is also Gundicha. So Gundicha is also considered Vrindavan. Continuing, Prabhupada says, nonetheless, just to teach people, he visited Boma Vrindavan. Vrindavan Dham in this material world. In this way, the Lord instructed everyone to visit Vrindavan Dham, which is a very holy place. So this Vrindavan, Boma Vrindavan, which means, what does that mean, Boma Vrindavan? Earthly Vrindavan. It means the Vrindavan, I forget, Prabhupada often says how many square miles or so many miles, 84 miles, square miles, tract of land, south of Delhi. Prabhupada describes like that. So this place, you can physically go there. It is Boma Vrindavan. This is Vrindavan. But Prabhupada says that some materialists consider Vrindavan Dham an unclean city because there are many monkeys and dogs there. And along the bank of the Jamuna there is refuse. So yes, so we can be reminded we have to have the eyes to see this Vrindavan Dham also. And Prabhupada continues, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally renovated Vrindavan Dham and advised his chief disciples, Rupa and Sanatan, to develop it and open it to attract the spiritual vision. So realizing everyone might not have that divine spiritual vision to just see a field or a place where this was performed or where that was. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, he sent the Goswamis there, that you have to erect places of spiritual significance of the pastimes of the Lord, so that when people go there, their eyes will be Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militangena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Their eyes will be forced open. Otherwise, Prabhupada said, I can sit under a tree and chant Hare Krishna. But actually, who will come? So Prabhupada said we have to build these big, magnificent places, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He advised his disciples to go there. So, this Boma Vrindavan is also Vrindavan. Then there is, such persons cannot understand that the earthly Vrindavan Dham is always a representation of the original Vrindavan Dham, also known as Goloka Vrindavan or Goloka Dham. So like that. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, we have to have the eyes to see Vrindavan. And the original Goloka Vrindavan planet in the spiritual sky is identical with Boma Vrindavan. So they are simultaneously one, but they are also different and individual. So then we have the final Vrindavan, which is Goloka Vrindavan. So in this way, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada... No, this isn't the final. If someone's keeping count, how many was that? 5, thank you. So you all went, oh, he made a mistake, haha, and I did. So that's not the final Vrindavan. The final Vrindavan is a little bit more close to home. So Srila Prabhupada explains that at present the members of our Hare Krishna movement throughout the world live in materially opulent cities like Watford, Aldenham, name some other towns around here. Bushy, yes. New York, Los Angeles, da-da-da-da. Because we live in the temples of Radha and Krishna, of Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, continuously chanting the holy names, holding Harinam Sankirtan, we consequently live in Vrindavan and nowhere else. Now, the question is, when you drive through those gates of Bhaktivedanta Manor, do you feel like you're passing through the gates of Vaikuntha? Or do you think, I'm late, I better step on the gas, and why did they put those speed bumps in here anyway? Yes. Yeah. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda speed bumps key. Jai. Slowing down for all the squirrels key. Jai and rabbits. Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada has given us these embassies of the spiritual world. He described that our temples are like embassies, and if you understand that principle, then it means if you're here in London and if I go to the American embassy and I show them my American passport, they will say, come in, you're welcome, and you are now on American soil. You're protected. If you go to Indian embassy, if you go to the Mauritian embassy, or if you go to the Belgian embassy, whatever embassy you go to, they're all here in London, then you are on that soil. That is considered that soil. So when we come into Bhaktivedanta Manor, when we come into any of Srila Prabhupada's temples, then we have to understand we have actually entered Vrindavan. We are in the Dham. And we know that the example, Prabhupada gives other examples, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur specifically left his body where? Where did Bhaktisiddhanta leave his body? In Kolkata. Yes, in Kolkata. And why did he do that? He could have just gone to Sridham Mayapur, right? Right around the corner. He also could have gone to Vrindavan. But he did that specifically to prove the point that this is Vrindavan. I don't need to go there. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj did the same thing, leaving his body in Gita Nagari to prove the point that I don't have to go to Vrindavan because this is the holy Dham. Because Radha and Krishna are here. We just have to develop that consciousness. We have to develop the eyes to see it, and then, of course, we have to act accordingly. That's the hardest part. We may theoretically understand. So what or where is Vrindavan? Vrindavan is the holy person. It's the heart or consciousness. It's Rathayatra or Gundicha Mandir. It's Boma Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, and the temples or embassies are Vrindavan. So we're so fortunate to have access to Vrindavan in so many ways. And Srila Prabhupada mentions these personalities, which I thought was important to note. These personalities who are not in Vrindavan, but always live in Vrindavan. And then he described that Swarup Damodar never even went to Vrindavan. Pundarik Vijayanidhi, Haridas Thakur, Srivas Pandit, Shivananda Sain, Ramananda Roy, Sikhi, Mahiti, Madhavi Devi, and Sri Gadadhar Pandit, whose appearance day it was yesterday, none of them even went to Vrindavan Dham, to Boma Vrindavan. But still, they're always in Vrindavan. And Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhagavan Das Babaji, all of these great personalities. And Prabhupada says later, Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur of Kolkata. I really would like to say, Prabhupada, why did you say that? I mean, is there another Bhaktivedanta Thakur somewhere? I mean, he didn't say anyone else of anywhere, but maybe he was pointing out that Bhaktivedanta Thakur stayed in Calcutta. And I thought how interesting that this comes up in the purport, considering yesterday was the grand opening of the Bhakti Bhavan, the home of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. And I was looking up and reading some interesting facts. Would you like to hear a little snippet of interesting fact about that? So it was in 1885 that Bhaktivedanta Thakur opened a press at his house. So Bhakti Bhavan was his house. And one of the most astonishing things that he did was he opened a press, a printing press, and in his own house, in Bhakti Bhavan. And he named it the Sri Chaitanya Yantra. The Sri Chaitanya Yantra. And he utilized it to print and widely distribute his books. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So books like, or papers like Sajjana Toshini, the spiritual magazine, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with his commentaries, Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita were among a few published during this time. He met with eminent personalities during his stay in Calcutta, whom he preached to further the mission of the Lord. And on the 23rd of June, 1914, on the disappearance day of Sri Gadadhar Pandit, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur left his body at Bhakti Bhavan. So he left his body there, and he entered the eternal pastimes of Sri Gaura Sundar. So what a special place that has now come into the purview of ISKCON. And I heard that when the family looked after it for so many years, keeping so many things, that when the devotees first went in, they were opening doors and closets, and there was just piles of books and artifacts, so many things in Bhaktivedanta Thakur's personal handwriting, his personal diaries, his artifacts, so many things there. It's like, for a devotee, it's like a treasure chest, just being opened and given to the devotees of ISKCON. So we have access to Vrindavan because of Srila Prabhupada. So if you have an embassy, you have to have an ambassador, right? So Srila Prabhupada is the ambassador of Vrindavan. And by his great fortune, we are able to enter into, at least for me, and enter into any of the Vrindavans are only because of Srila Prabhupada. Only because of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada stresses on this point that he says, still our society is constructing a huge, magnificent temple for the worship of Lord Krishna and Balaram. So like that. So Prabhupada trying to give people access to Radha Krishna through Sri Sri Gaura Nitai, so that they can understand Krishna and Balaram, and then they can enter into Radha Krishna Leela. And this famous photograph, if you've ever heard Mother Vishaka Devi tell the story that she took this photograph and how she was like right in the perfect place to take the photograph. And I think it was Tripurari Maharaj or all these different sannyasis were kind of, huddling in and trying to push the ladies to the back kind of thing. And she kind of said to him, I can stand here and take a picture that people will see for hundreds of years kind of thing, or you can push me to the back and you can have darshan for like 5 to 10 minutes or whatever it is. And he went, okay. So then she took this amazing picture, of which this one isn't such good quality, but So Srila Prabhupada, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also attempting to construct a temple in Vrindavan for our disciples throughout the world to visit. And one of the first things that he constructed and conceived of in Vrindavan was to create an American house, right? What he called an American house, which would be a guest house. A place for devotees to come. Also recognizing they're not going to come and sleep on the street, necessarily sleep on the bank of the Jamuna, but they need a comfortable place to stay. Same thing in Mayapur. And then one of the things he talked about also is just hearing. It's interesting. I love it when you're reading and studying, and I'm listening to Leelamrita regularly. And as soon as I turned it on, it was talking about how Prabhupada started the Juhu temple and how he started, the Vrindavan temple and Raman Reti, and how his first thoughts were how to create guest houses in all of these places. And Bombay was to build this big hotel, And Prabhupada just had such divine vision, but he was also so practical. So we're very blessed. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And here's Prabhupada having darshan of Krishna Balaram. Okay, I'll conclude there. Anyone has any questions, comments, corrections, chastisements, reflections? Or is everyone just ready for breakfast? Yes, Prabhu. What is your name, Prabhu?
Rama Raghava Das.
Ram?
Raghava.
Raghava. Jai, Ram Raghava, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your inspiring class.
Thank you for being inspired by anything that I did. It's all Prabhupada's mercy.
My question is regarding the current verse.
Yes.
And it said that the Lord does everything to instruct people, basically, no? Or he does as he wishes. And instruction itself can be relative. That's basically the question, isn't it? Like, for example, the pastime of Sri Ram, where he sort of banished Sita Devi to an ashram because of a single criticism. That wouldn't be very instructive for the general people. Is this understanding correct?
I think the understanding that instructions are specific, often to a person, to a Kaladesha Patra, to a time, place, and circumstance, that's for sure, absolute. Often we hear that whatever Srila Prabhupada has put in his books, that's more universal. But if you read letters and you try to transfer what he says in a letter to a specific disciple at a specific time, that may not transfer over so expertly or so perfectly, because Prabhupada was speaking to a person who was in a specific circumstance. And so, sometimes we hear that devotees would ask Prabhupada, but why did you give that instruction? And Prabhupada said, because he was going to do it anyway. Even if I told him to do what is the right thing, he wouldn't listen. Then he would commit an offense by not following the instruction of the spiritual master. So I had to instruct him that way. But that might not be the instruction he'd give to someone else. So personal instruction from the spiritual master or like that will be personal to the individual, to that jiva. So it may not transfer across to everyone for all time and all situations, kind of thing. So that's important to understand. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically, and the Lord, you can say, well, of course, it's in Krishna book that Krishna danced with, thousands of gopis, so that must mean I can also dance with thousands of gopis. But as Prabhupada said, yeah, no problem, you can do that as long as you can also lift Govardhan Hill over your head for 7 days. Then you can dance with as many gopis as you like. Jai Radha Shakti Devi Ki Jai. As soon as you talk about the gopis, Queen Gopi comes in, performing seva. And so like this is also why we need the direction and guidance of the spiritual master, of good mentors, shiksha gurus, people who can help us to understand how to apply a specific teaching in our situation. You mentioned about Ram banishing Sita, and that might not be good for everyone. It might not be, but I don't know. It was done for a specific purpose, to teach a specific lesson, to more or less, really, one might say, to those who are in high levels of leadership. What is that saying that someone has to be beyond? Caesar's wife. Yeah, that's it. It's beyond what? Suspicion, thank you. So Caesar's wife should be beyond suspicion. So the point being that whoever's close to the leader, that also reflects on the leader. So, but that's a whole dialogue. So again, the point is that it may or may not. So it might not be an absolute instruction for everyone, but it also might be very useful in certain time, place, and circumstance. Does that make sense? Ram Raghava?
Absolutely.
Did I perfectly answer your question by not answering it at all?
In my opinion, it was perfect answer.
Okay, great. Because it was a perfect question. Jai, Srila Prabhupada. Anyone else? Okay, we've got Mahajan.
It's an old memory, actually. Mother Kalangana.
Jai.
She used to go to Mayapur, and they wanted her to stay there. And when Janani Vasa or Pankajanri came here, she said, "What shall I do?" She says, "What would you do there? Your Istadevs are here."
Mm-hmm.
And that answered her question.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
matter how much people asked him, you know, it's very nice, but she used to like going there. But yeah, the place is here where we are.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Be satisfied.
Be satisfied, yes. Yeah. We don't have to go to these places, but we do have to go to Vrindavan. But we don't have to go to Vrindavan. But we do have to go to Vrindavan, ultimately. Yeah. But as we saw, even Swarup Damodar, all these great personalities, they never went to Vrindavan. But of course, for us, we're not on the level of those eternal associates of the Lord. But yeah, perfect. Anything else? I'm starting to see people disappearing quickly. The aroma of prasadam is wafting in as the door opens each time. Okay. 9 o'clock. Oh, really? Oh, someone told me I had to finish at 8:45 or something. I can go to 9:30, you said. If you go down early, there's nothing there. Hey, come back, there's nothing down there. Okay, anyway. Except the Maha. Well, that's why. Maybe I'll go too. Okay, yes, Prabhuji, and then Mataji will come to you after.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class. How would someone with a spiritual vision who sees Vrindavan without the veil, like if he's in this temple, how would he see the temple? And,
So your question is, how does someone with spiritual vision who's here in the temple see the temple with spiritual vision?
yeah, just like that.
What was the last part?
Like the Bhaktivedanta
As a holy
for
dham.
example. Yeah. What would he see exactly?
I don't know, I don't have spiritual vision. Yeah. We have to cultivate what Prabhupada. Say again, Prabhu?
It's in his,
No, you Prayojana. Yeah.
no, he says that basically wherever the devotees are, that's Vrindavan.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you must understand that.
I think your question was from a more of a practical perspective, like what do I see? So the point is that we have to become Krishna conscious. So in 22nd Avenue and Matchless Gifts, we have a painting, one of the early paintings that Jadharani Devi did, and in that she painted this picture of Krishna, then she painted Prabhupada looking at Krishna, and then she wrote on the bottom, Krishna consciousness. And it's like so simple, like Prabhupada said, it's so simple that we can miss it. So, you know, it's like as soon as, and being a brahmachari, you're living in the Dham. You're a Dhambasi. The rest of us, we just come to visit the Holy Dham. But you're living in the Dham. So the moment you wake up in the morning, you have to remember, I'm living in the Dham. And you roll over and you immediately offer obeisances. Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha, to all the devotees, all the other Dham Basis. You're brushing your teeth. You can be thinking, I'm using a neem twig from a neem tree in Vrindavan. And I'm cleaning my teeth because today I'm going to chant the holy names. And Krishna will be dancing on my tongue. And we shower, and you can imagine you're taking bath in the Jamuna, that the water of the Jamuna is pouring over you, Ganga, 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 and you're just like, and then you get dressed, put on your tilak, and you come down for Mangalarti, and Krishna is here. Krishna's been up all night performing his nocturnal pastimes, and he just quickly ran back onto the altar as those curtains open. Well, they got back in time for them to give him the Mangalarti sweets. And then you're just like, wow, and we're singing glorification of the spiritual master who has Om Jnana Timirandasya. He's opened our eyes to see Vrindavan. He's given us the opportunity to have access, and we're dancing surrounded by other Dambasis and all of the devotees who are eagerly here to serve Radha and Krishna. And we should feel so humbled. We should feel so fortunate, so blessed to be able to be in the association of these souls. And then we offer Vanchakalpa. We dance around Tulsi. Brinda Devi herself, you enter into Vrindavan. Every moment we have to pull our consciousness back to Vrindavan. Because otherwise it drifts to like, why am I here again? Why is that same devotee singing the same melody? Why is he playing mridanga? Why are they doing kartals? Why are they wearing the same outfit? I'm sure, why am I awake right now? It's like, why do I get up at this ungodly time, right? That's the mind. That's not Vrindavan consciousness. Sorry, Mataji wants to say something. Don't throw it, Prabhu. Okay. Did that answer your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prasadam's not till 9, Prabhu. Sorry? Hare Krishna. Thank you for being here. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Yes, it was something I was battling with for a long time, because flocks of devotees.
This lady is living in Vrindavan right now. Wherever she goes, Radha Shakti Devi is in Vrindavan. She is a walking tirtha. Exactly. You wish, and we all know. Haribol. Yes. Sorry, Ma.
Yes, because in my experience recently especially, there's been flocks of people going to Vrindavan, non-devotee, devotees, and I was longing, and they say, this is where you have to go to get it correct, all your troubles fixed. So I think, I'm pleased that you confirmed that you can bring Vrindavan to you, and we've got the perfect situation here where we can do that. And I think every action, as you say, we can think of Vrindavan. I did touch the pavement before COVID, so that's my dose of Vrindavan. But I would have liked to go more and more. However, yes, Vrindavan is in your heart. You can expose your heart and look in there and see, and make it work for you.
Beautiful.
And we have got devotees, good association. This temple is amazing. It's rich with Vrindavan.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say that I'm pleased that you touched on this subject, which I've been battling for a long time.
Thank you.
And it's the sweetness that you can achieve just being, putting your heart in it and thinking of Vrindavan, thinking of Krishna, thinking of how Mahaprabhu came as a devotee and he made it. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, you brought up a very powerful point, which is that the Goswamis are living in Vrindavan, but they're always longing to be in Vrindavan, longing to see Krishna. Prabhupada said that if you ever think that you're with Krishna, then you're basically in Maya. So they're longing. Hey Radhe, Brajadevike. You know, they're calling out, where is Krishna? Where is that Govardhan hill? He's in Govardhan. Let's go. Let's find Krishna. Always looking for Krishna. So your little touch of the pavement and your small dose is keeping you longing to be in Vrindavan, which is the right mood. So perfect. Hare Krishna. Okay, it's 1 minute. Should we finish? Prayojana Prabhu? Yes? No? Tat Sat? As it goes. Perfect. I like it. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Living in the holy Dham of Vrindavan here at Bhaktivedanta Manor Ki Jai. Nanta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Janita Gauda Premanandi Haribo. Nanta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada.